Hi everybody, this is Harmony with Cornerstone Stitchery, and I am back for a much overdue update. I am the least busy person that you probably will ever find, but somehow things got busy. I could not have any social engagements for months on end, and then the second that I signed up for a class at church, I had something going like 3 to 4 nights a week. And that class has been over for a while, but it seems like things haven't really slowed down much. And this Wednesday, I start up another class. So we'll see how this goes. And besides that, the weekends have just been all about hanging out with my husband and my daughter and trying to relax and reduce stress. And so I haven't been filming, but I'm back now. So thank you to everyone who has been patient and waited for me. And if you're new here, thank you for giving me a try. I know that there's so many different videos out there to watch, so I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come visit me here. So we're going to go ahead and get started. One of the things that I was working on in my video hiatus was a knitted blanket. I had started this a while ago. I got the yarn from the yarn shop in Tawas. I don't know if you can see my special guest here. He's upset because my husband is in the bedroom with the door shut, and he never likes that. So, but anyway, I got this, and it was discontinued. Cascade yarns. It was called Pluff. Pluff? I think so. Thought I had a ball band over there, but anywho, I had 5 balls of this, and I only was maybe 1 or 2 balls in. So I had at least 3 balls to put in, and I finished it. And it's actually a really nice size. My daughter has claimed it, and it's just knitted, and it's a variegated yarn. So it's kind of tonal with pinks and reds, and it's just plain knit. It's a nice big square, a nice big square. So I finished this. I was only going to work on it a little bit at a time to try to knock out another one of my whips, but I ended up just doing it. And I think it took me 2 weeks, and I got all of it done. So throw that over there. And then I'll insert a picture here. This is the mini bunnies that I started last year for a coworker, and Easter was upon us, so I had to get them done. And so I got them done and delivered, and it was great. And so that is a weight lifted off of my shoulders, because I had that nagging on me for, a year. So got that done. So yay. And that blanket too, because one of my thought processes was the class that we're taking at church is called Decluttering by Faith. And it's about being able to utilize your time wisely, being a good steward of your time, and you can't necessarily do that if you have too many belongings. So it's not that I necessarily want to get rid of my yarn and just purge it all, but there was 3 balls of yarn sitting there just because I hadn't finished that project. So now those balls of yarn are gone out of my stash, and now we have a functional blanket that my daughter can use, and it could be stored away when the time comes. So that was my process about, okay, what can I do to get rid of some balls of yarn? I'm not going to be able to do it all, but I want to be able to get moving on some of my projects, because I have sweater quantities up there that are just sitting there waiting. And if I get those done, then I can put them in my closet. So okay, follow me. Okay, so there was a retreat in March. In every March and October, there's a retreat in Davison for cross stitchers to go and just hang out. You hang out for the weekend and stitch away. And I stitch a lot. And usually what I do is I take something that needs to be finished that I've been putting off for a while. So I got 2 finishes from the retreat. So let me show you. And this is 3 Wise Men, and it's a kit that I received from a group on Facebook. The person just didn't want to do it, and so she wanted to give it away, and I won the drawing, It's a lottery style. And all I had left on this was the back stitching. And now note, I did not do the back stitching the way that it said. There was like 3 different colors in the camels and the wise men. And me and my stitching buddy decided, more so me, but why? Why do 3 colors when 2 is sufficient? So I did 1 color all the way around the camels and the heads of the wise men, and then for their clothes I did another color. But the camels themselves were supposed to have 2 different colors, and I said no. And then there was supposed to be, let me show you. So the dark blue is for the clothes, and then like it's the very, very lightest blue is just the general outline. And then this up here for the star is some kind of glow in the dark, and there was supposed to be little tiny like French knots all over, and I decided no, because now to me the focus is on the actual star. So this is complete. It was a kit. I gave away the pattern. I think I put it on the freebie table, and I think someone took it. So it's not perfect by sure. I kept saying, whoever stitched this, and people were getting really confused. They're like, didn't you stitch it? And I said, yes, my past self stitched it, and she made tons of mistakes. But with the back stitching, I was able to fix those mistakes, and you can't tell at all that there's any mistakes in the counting. But this isn't the kit fabric. The person had started it, and I couldn't make heads or tails of it, so I threw it away and started over. But it's the same 14 or 16 count black Aida, and then I used all the threads, and this is what I have left out of the threads from the kit. So not very much, but I made it work. So finish number 1. Now that can be put away upstairs. You want to say hi to your friends on the camera? I have no idea if you can see him or not, but he's pretty upset that the bedroom door is shut. He does not like the bedroom door shut at all. I have no idea what that is. Okay. Oh, here's the actual pattern for that. It got put in the wrong bag. So I did not put it on the freebie table, as you can see. Okay, so the next one, well, the bead pack is in the way. Well, let me just show you the finish. It's in here somewhere. Okay, the finish is Joseph out of the trilogy from Mill Hill. If you remember, I finished Mary last time I went to the retreat. Well, I finished all the cross stitching, and then I did the beading the couple days after I got home from the retreat in October. So this time I decided that I would try to finish Joseph, and I did. There wasn't that much stitching left, but I got the stitching done, and then the next day I did the beading. And I was inspired because my stitching buddy was doing beading on one of her Mirabilia pixies, and so I'm like, I can do that too. So I did it. So that's 2 out of the 3, and now I just have to start baby Jesus, and maybe if I can get this started, I can do the beading at the October retreat, and or the finishing touches of this one. I don't know, but 2 out of the 3 are finished. And I actually had this is what I did. I took a piece of cardstock and I punched holes, and this is quite a bit of floss left. It's not enough to do it again, I don't think, but I obviously, once I was done with the beading, I'm like, I'm done with this, because I didn't even put it back on the card. But I will deal with this. This is for a different person, a different version of myself on a different day. So I know you're upset. He's gonna wander around. Okay, and then one of my Whipco calls, I believe, was Heads Up by Prairie Schooler. I'm not doing a fantastic job with Whitgo, but it gives me something. Like, if I don't know what to pick up, then it's a great starting point. I can pick it up. So Heads Up, I started this in September for my little Prairie Schooler September idea. Let me grab these out. So in Prairie Schooler September, I finished the witch head. I started the devil head, but then I finished it this go round. And then I did the moon. So I actually have wait, did I complete that? Yeah. So I have 3 completed. Let's see, there's 3, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 normal size, well, there's 9. There's 9. And then there's an extra one on the back. So there's technically 10 of them, and I have 3 of them done. I have all the pieces of fabric in here waiting, ready to go. Some of these pieces, like I discovered this one here, if I fold it exactly in half, there's enough room on the opposite side to do another one. And I think the same thing with this one. If I fold it in half, there's plenty of fabric. So I actually have more than enough fabric, and I'm going to use the opposite sides so that way I can save some of the pieces that I have cut here for other things. So that's heads up. Okay, and the next, I'm sitting on a stool, and it's seeming to be pretty squeaky today. So this one is, if I can remember, I will put up a picture of what it's supposed to look like. It's Seasons in Chalk, Stars and Stripes by Hands On Design. And this one, I don't know if this one came up in WhipGo or not. It had to have, because I don't know if I would have picked it up just on its own. And my goal for all of my WhipGo this year is to get a decent amount of stitching. And for me, that's about 1,000 stitches. It's taking me about a week or so to get them done. This one, I got some pretty good progress, and I don't have my stats with me today, but this is my progress. So this flower here, the bottom and the left petal were not quite done, and then I started on the flag. And I've made some pretty good progress on that flag too. It seems that it's going to be quite large. And this is, all of my Prairie Schooler pieces are on 28 count Monaco, and this is 28 count Monaco black. And it's off the bolt. It's not the new kind that you can get that has all the starch in it. So yeah. Okay, so another WhipGo call was Adam Names the Creatures by Prairie Schooler. I have a lot of Prairie Schoolers on the go right now, so it's very likely that my WhipGo calls are going to be a Prairie Schooler. So Adam Names the Creatures, it's book 31. It's from 1991. And I did my WhipGo on this, and then I took it to Stitch Day on the 19th or whatever, on the 19th, the day before Easter. And I put in another 507 stitches, and then I got home and went to log it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I already had this WhipGo call done. But it just meant that I got extra progress. This is on 28 count Monaco that I coffee tea dyed myself. I have a tail hanging that I didn't cut off. That's lovely. The last time I worked on this, I didn't have all the flosses, so I went and did a big purchase, and now I have more flosses and I can get more progress. So this is where I got to from the last time you saw it until now. Besides the one stitch for the eye on the hippo, he's completely done now. I put in some greenery, and I finished, besides the eyes, I finished the lion, and I'm almost finished with the camel. And then I started putting in, what is it, a goat? A sheep. This is the sheep. So getting some progress. And this is, I think, 3 stitching sessions of at least 500 stitches each. So this is just the little tiny corner down here. So this is going to take me a while, because this is the size, fabric it's on. It's my biggest Prairie Schooler that I'm working on. I don't know if there's any of her charts are technically bigger than that, like bigger size-wise, but I know that even some of the smaller ones have more stitches just because there's solid stitching in there. So I got another 507 stitches on this, so that's not that bad. Progress is progress, and maybe I just wanted something easy to take with me. I can't remember, but I think that I was like, oh, I need to get my whip go done on my progress done on it, but I was already done. Okay, 2 more projects, and then that's really all that I've been doing. I did join the book club at work as well. Sorry, my department has started a book club 14 years ago, and they invited me to join, and so for the last 3 months I've read a book too, so that eats up a little bit of time, but really it's only averaging me about 7 to 10 days to read the book. But that's 7 to 10 days worth of stitching that I don't get done as well. So, okay, the next one is my focus on a finished piece for the year, the Mario Map 1. And here is where we are. So I can't remember when I filmed last, but I worked on this at the retreat. I worked on this that was March, but then in February, I did an extra 349 stitches as well. So that's almost 1,500 stitches in February, and I did 1,500 stitches roundabouts in March. So in March, I was just finished working on filling in the background here, right here. And I did have to do some other things too in order to get there. So in February, I worked on putting in the black here and the door and like these things and all of these walkways, because this is where Mario walks. And then I did finish filling in the one spot, and then all of the blues in the rest of them. Number 6 was done, but 1 through 5 needed the blue stitches. So I zeroed out all of those blues in there. So I wanted to finish the door because that would have zeroed out some colors as well, but they weren't in my bag, and I don't know where they went to. So this now is, I believe it's approaching 70%. I have not worked on it on April, and I realized right before I sat down when I was gathering everything that I was supposed to work on this yesterday. My goal was to work on it this weekend, and instead of working on it yesterday, I worked on my next project, and I will show you that. I will show you that now. This is 18 count Aida. It's actually the same fabric that the next project is on. And I'm pretty much, my special guest is down here. He decided to give up on the pacing. My husband will come out as soon as I'm finished. So, okay, one more. This was a new start on Palm Sunday. I remembered that I had this, and I'm like, oh, this is the perfect opportunity for me to start working on this. So I've been working on it since Palm Sunday, so it's been, well, almost 2 weeks. Today's been 2 weeks, and I am 55% complete. It is basically a full coverage, and I'll put a picture right here of what it's supposed to look like, and then where I'm at right now. So I don't even have all of the colors. I think I'm missing 1 or 2 that I need to go to the store and pick up. But I started here and working up. And yesterday I was filling in some of the brown with 300 and working on his face. Well, this is his neck. And then his hand down here is pretty confetti heavy. So when I picked a color for his neck, then I took the leftover on my needle and I did the stitches in his hand. So you know that confetti. Are you all right? Are you okay? Sometimes he's a little too aggressive with the scratching. Anywho, I don't like confetti, but this is gonna look pretty cool. The only thing that I'm not 100% sold on is this section right here of 921 in the palm of his hand. It's supposed to be like a shadow or a light reflection off of his skin, and it just seems really dark. but I'm just going to roll with it because I don't have the brain capacity at this point in time to figure out what color it should be instead of that. So I actually had this spot here and this spot down here I actually had done, and I had it stitched in 921, and you know, it's supposed to be blue, you know, here, that hole right there, or right here, it's supposed to be blue. And I was just looking at, after I got it done and I was stitching some more, I'm just looking at it, and I was at work on my lunch, and I'm like, I don't understand. So I pulled up the picture of what the pattern's supposed to look like, and I'm like, but it's not 921, it's clearly a blue. So I looked at, and I use Markup XP, and I don't know what happened, but Markup XP brought it in as 921. However, the color was, it was also the 921 color, but the key clearly showed the color, which is 38 something, and the blue. I'm like, what happened? All of the other colors were fine, but luckily with Markup XP, you can easily go into the color and you can change the color name and the actual DMC color. So I did, it fixed, it was the only color that was wrong. And so I ripped all the stitches out, but it was about 130 stitches, and there's only 152 of that color. So I was so close to being done with the color. It's just the wrong color. So I am 55% done with this, and I will continue plugging away at it until it's done. And this is a PDF pattern that I bought, so it'll be one less on my phone and one more done. And you know, it's not taking up space like yarn, but you know, it's still taking up space, and I spent good money on it, so get it done. Okay, so that's all of the crafting that I have been doing. You know, that's not necessarily true. Before Easter, I had some extra yarn and I had a little bit of extra time, and I knew this wasn't going to take very long. I actually made a bunny, and I think I made this on Palm Sunday actually, and I started it when I got in the car to go to church, and then we picked the ladies up that needed a ride and took them to church, and I think I was done with this before church actually started. So on the drive there, the trip to pick them all up, and by the time I got to the church, both sides of the bunny were done. And then I just came home and I put the eyes and the nose on. Flapping the ears. Can you stop flapping ears? I had to go buy them because out of all of the eyes that I had, I didn't have the right size. So these are 10 millimeter. The pattern called for 9 millimeter. I called it a day with that, and then I sewed it together. And my goal was actually to post this. I did post it for sale on Facebook to sell it before Easter and donate the money to one of the ministries that my church partners with. And no one wanted it, so, but that's okay. I'm going to put it in a bin with all the other things that I plan on selling. And maybe I'll just get a table at a craft fair sometime and try to sell all the stuff, and all of the proceeds will go to that ministry. So I did make this as well, and I feel that I made something else, but I can't think of it. I can't, because it's been a while since I've saw you, and I can't think of it, but that's as close to a full complete update as I can get at this time. So the only other thing that I really have to talk to you about is the retreat that I was planning for end of May, like the weekend after Memorial Weekend. It was like the May 30th to June 2nd or something like that. And I have decided to cancel that retreat. There was not very many people interested, and it's okay to have a small retreat, but toward the end of March, I was realizing that the deadline, they will take late registrations, but for their purposes at the retreat center, I didn't want them to stress out about having to move us, because they gave us a facility that would hold 25 people. And at the end of March, I had 0 people paid. And so I just made the decision to go ahead and cancel, because then it would be less stressful on myself and the retreat center. Because last year they moved us at the last minute because we only had 4 people versus the 25 that I thought we were going to have. So we're not having that retreat. But what I did say I would do instead, if anyone was interested, is there's some hotels in Saginaw that would cost the same amount of money. You could have a private room. We could use the breakfast room after breakfast closes, or the rooms actually have couches in them. And so then we could gather up like that if people wanted. Now, I'm not going to pick a day and say, let's do this on this day, because I don't want to be the only one that shows up. However, if anyone out there in cross stitchers in Michigan that are watching, or anyone that's willing to drive, I mean, that's fine too. If they, pick a weekend and we can get together and hang out. But I do know that there are the 2 weekends in Davison as well. And I double up with someone if there's someone available. And so that helps with the cost as well. And it's about the same amount of money per night. So if anyone is interested in doing something in Saginaw, then, reach out to me, either comment on the video or send me an email. Of course, my email always is in the description box of this video, of all videos. Or, if you want to come to the Davison retreat, there's no registration required. You just book your room and then pay the $10 to the organizer to pay for because we have the breakfast room that we can use, and then also there's their small conference room, and so that there's a cost associated with that. So everybody, no matter where you sit and stitch, pays $10, and it goes to pay for the room. So either option is fine with me. I would love to have you at the retreat in Davison at any time, March or October. Or if, like I said, if you want to help me organize a weekend in Saginaw, then we can do that too. It's just I'm not going to do it on my own, because I don't want to arbitrarily pick a date that doesn't work for anybody else's schedule. So that's all. I think that's it. I don't think... I did make my daughter and I a hair tie for Easter, just a blue scrunchie, but I don't think I made anything else. I think that's all the crafting. Hello. And so I think that's it. I do hope that you saw something to inspire you to pick up a languishing whip, or maybe even try something new. I hope that you have a great week, and I will see you as soon as I can see you next. Bye.